especially the great people from Nawar, Georgia, another great people who came from all over the GCC and other countries. And I would like to thank even my good friend, Dr. Saad, but he's not here. He's not listening to our panel. Uh, is there, yeah, yeah. When they asked me that his lovely food at the night, I thought I know him only when he likes to drink shisha because this is I thought his lovely good is shisha. This is anyway. I would like to thank you for the organizing this great event, this lovely event. And when we spoke together, actually, which it was been my first question to him, why Georgia? I told him. He told me he says like challenge. He want to make it, and he will do it here. And really, I see he succeeded on it. And this is the kind of the people really who has some vision, who has some thing to deliver, and they are going until the end. Congratulations, Dr. Saad. Congratulations for all the team because this is, I'm sure, you have a great team behind you working on it. So let me come back to the panel now. So, yeah, sorry, I forget to introduce myself. After you introduce me, my name is Nawar Abdul. I'm originally from Syria, but I'm living in UAE for last 20 years. And I'm CEO of EurAsia Gulf, which is one of the it is the biggest business association connecting East Europe, Central Asia with GCC. And let me introduce now my people in my panel. This start with Miss Yulia Stark, the president of the European Women's Association. Miss Yulia. Yeah. Mr. Georgi Molodinashvili, managing partner, Aviation Consulting Group. He was been speaking when we said Georgi, that's in Georgia, they're not calling George, they are calling Georgi. Thank you for this information. Yeah. Dr. David Kristiansen, Senior Vice President, Oak View Group. And last but not least, Ms. Natalia Kvachantiradze, Chairperson, Georgian Tourism Association. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for this wonderful trip to Georgia. And let's start our discussion. Okay. The first round, we are going to speak about the Georgian proposition, branding and capital flow. Let me start now. The first question to Dr. Deri. Dr. Deri, how important it is to the perception of the quality and safety in attracting global MICE and entertainment investors to destination like Georgia?
It is very yes. It's very important, actually paramount. Not just safety and security, but there are actually key criteria for event to organize, whether that's MICE organizers or whether that's light entertainment organizers. Number one, yes, safety, security, and global ranking for destination. Number two, venue space and capacity. And I know that Georgia and certainly Tbilisi already have an exhibition center, Expo Georgia. And then I understand you're planning a new arena, a 70,000 capacity new arena for football and rugby and live entertainment and also a convention center. So it's great that Georgia's already thinking about those assets. Number three, integrated precinct and destination appeal. Number four, accessibility and hospitality. And I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next question in terms of reach, hotel. We heard earlier about the new hotels that are opening here, the investment that's happening in the tourism sector. And finally, the government influence, whether that's support for customs services or visa facilitation, etc. So these 5 key components, safety and security, of course, is up there at the top, not just for event organizers and giving credibility when they're putting on an event, but also for the reputation of the destination. So that the two do go hand in hand. It's critical.
Thank you, Dr. Day, for that great information. Let's move to Miss Yulia. Miss Yulia, you work closely with the investors and entrepreneurs across Europe and the GCC. What the top three things Georgia must do to become market for boutique tourism investment and woman-led ventures?
That's a big question, and I think we can start with this kind of forums. Thanks to Dr. Sata, I'm here at Georgia for the first time, and I realized how important this kind of really niche conferences should be. It opens the opportunities not from only a networking perspective, but towards best perspective as well. Our main goal of EUA is create investment opportunities with a gender lens approach and investment banking myself, so I'm quite fascinated by not only ROI, but also the social impact. So what goes to Georgia, my wife was Ukrainian for an 8 month, and she told me like, daughter, one day you should end up here and enjoy the culture. We should enjoy the feeling, the nature. And when it comes to women-led ventures, I think, the numbers have shown that tourism is one of the few sectors that involves over 40% of women automatically. Hospitality, service, culture, it's all made run by women. So we are not that stressed when it comes to gender equality in this sector. But when it comes to attracting, the main challenge stays is political stability and legal security on the investors. I had a very fascinating coffee this morning with Isaac Smonsi Ahmed from Saudi Arabia. He was an investor. We had this small debate, like how can we make sure you as investor is protected? And it goes back to legislation protection, but also things like currency, like we sometimes underestimate. And we at the bank, we used to hedge our risks, but at the end, when as an international investor, we have much more challenges in place. But when we come to the boutique question, I think Georgia has the one of the most opportunities in comparison to other countries. You've got the culture, you've got the history, building wellness centers, culture, food experience. This is something what European travelers are looking for. They want something unique, and this is what Georgia stands for. When it comes to GCC, we are working there for the last 5 years quite actively. We've seen that GCC travelers, they're looking also for something unique, nature-based, and that's again what Georgia is attracting. So at the end, you have all the puzzle pieces in place with the right collaboration from the government. And when it comes to securing the investors' money, we are heading towards a very key decision.
Fascinating, a lot of interesting information. Thank you, Yulia. Let me move now to Miss Natalie. Miss Natalie, how can Georgia elevate its cultural tourism brand while preventing authenticity and ensuring long-term return on investments for investors?
First of all, thank you very much for presentations here at the business, the future meeting. So we can discuss about the tools open in one country and sustainable process of so that's cultural tools. What this means the core country. This is the by statistical on the first place. It's a cultural to these two groups, and we as a country related to invite all the main stakeholders who want to build the big businesses here in Georgia to promote our country as a very important destination to destination. But I need to mention that the culture tours without the other separate direction to not be step to film as Georgia full. I mean that as a showcase. By statistics in this year, we elect approximately 6 million, more than 6 million tourists in that country, and most of them are interested to visit our country with cultural tours. It will be so fund the cultural tours. So that's we promoting our country. We of times mention what kind of the separated directions we have in tourism and hospitality. This is the adventure of ecotourist directions. Gastronomy, wine tourism is one our priority. So this all kind of the two products and the combination is most important for country development. So that's the sustainability means that we want to increase our possibility around the world. And for example, in our association, we promoting sustainable tourism, broke the Olympic standards. We have created this association, the internal standards, which means the prosperity for the people, the climate, what was mentioned the previous speakers, that it's important part of future plans and future developments. But in this process, much important is to fix the role of private sector in this process of development. Without the cooperation with government, with council of public institution, with cooperation, for example, the education institutions, it's impossible to reach high level results. This we are just working with our partners. I mean, with public institution, educational institution, with international organization to promote sustainable tourism through different kind of direction. This is the education process, though. But for example, much education is crucially important for tourism and hospitality because this is the fully service programs, for example, what we need future employment. And today we have great opportunity in the vice portfolio German government and the moment of Georgian Tourist Association in our country was created dual education and for programming, cabin service development. This is a very good opportunity for the tourist service promoters because, for example, if we are talking about what kind of the services is a country we need, because the two products is separate parts, but service development is one important part for our future plans and future developments because without education improvement we can't fix the sustainable the 70 goals what we have to achieve the goal. That's a big great opportunity today. We are speaking with our education minister to fix this opportunity for our private sector. We just start with the pollution side of the education starters. This we have. Just we're working with together with private sector what they need for the future planning. For example, what kind of skills they need to improve their quality of service. Because when we are talking about the investment process inside the country, we need to keep the very strong service opportunity because the human resource is much important for all this process. Because the very key point was the measure by key speakers, but this is the complex works, and we just must to create something new for the future development. Yes.
Thank you for the detailed reply. And actually, the symposium wanted to have a long conversation with you, Miss Natalie, after the PAM, because it's quite interesting subject to learn more about what I will be down. Let's move to Mr. Georgi. Mr. Georgi, your question for you for the first question, the last maybe because we give the ladies the opportunity to start speaking. How can the aviation infrastructure and the route strategy help amplify Georgia's tourism brand and attract high vacuum developers?
Thank you, Noah. I'm really pleased to be here and for such a distinguished audience. Indeed, branding and national experience and waters are real essential pillars for tourism. But I have to say that none of them can scale without having a proper aviation in place, which is actually the backbone of the global mobility. And when we talk about aviation and its importance and that it is a real driver for connectivity we observed during the pandemic, when aviation has popped, whole tourism worldwide collapsed by 75%. And it's a fact that connectivity is the key for tourism. And it's also applied to Georgia, where we are enjoying that digit passenger growth last 2-3 years. So in 2024, we had around 24% of growth in passenger operation, and this year we are expecting around 40% of growth in passenger operation as well. But also we have big move in the cargo operation. As you know, aviation is one of the biggest shipper of global goods worldwide. It ships around 35% of global goods by the value. So it is a fact that we have quite big demand and sector is growing, but we have to channel out somehow to bring more tourists and more visitors to Georgia. How we should do that? We have to have direct connection with many markets to have high spending power from the European Union, from Asia, from GCC countries, and we need more strategic partnership with the airlines, with foreign airlines. But also, it's important to highlight that we need also very strong local carriers, because if we look at the region, none of the countries has been developed without having a strong local air carrier. And when it comes to the airport and infrastructure itself, of course, it is one of the biggest ambassador with the local carriers for the country to put flags high. And because every travelers that are traveling to certain countries, first touch that they have, it is first airlines, and then they come to the airport. And that's why, I believe, and it is a fact worldwide, that aviation and tourism sector must work hand in hand to develop not only wellness and the medical tourism, but every direction of the tourism, which are important developer of the country's economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bioki. And if you allow me to add a couple of words here. Maybe here we can take the example of the United Arab Emirates. United Arab Emirates is a small country located between the huge countries, but it became a hub for the transportation, for the aviation, because how many airlines now? I think we'll get 4 or 5 airlines, Emirati airlines working there, and they are connecting all over the world together. And another part for the tourism, maybe the big thing is the services and hotels. Actually, I was in my previous job more work in. We was been a long time ago for the removing the visa for the UAE. UAE's not citizens, UAE people was living UAE citizens with the Georgian government, and it was been that time everyone said what you will get from tourists, but slowly tourists start coming here and they start buying apartments, opening companies and after the Georgia example, another neighbor countries went doing the same way. Because of that, he was in the pioneers, guys. And yeah, let's go next question. So in the round 2, infrastructure and service excellence. Let's talk about the needs to build physically and institutionally to support this reformation. Let's start with Dr. David. What are the non-negotiable infrastructure and service elements Georgia must develop to compete to the global MICE and entertainment space?
Okay, well, I want to start by just talking about the actual value of the global MICE markets. In 2025, the global MICE market is valued at $932 billion. By 2030, that is expected to exceed $1.5 trillion. So this industry has a tremendous economic impact on destination. And it was interesting to hear both from Natalie and George in terms of their focus, their investment, because not only do you need an integrated infrastructure, first of all, you need to have the right hotels, you need to have venues, you need to have retail, you need to have restaurants. So all of these components fit together. You need to have a great airport. This is my first visit to Georgia, and I have to say I was really, really impressed and I arrived yesterday. But accessibility is key. I live between Riyadh and Bahrain. I had to fly via Dubai to reach here. So I think the accessibility in terms of airlines, connectivity, increased destination, this is very important because this is a beautiful destination. It has history, has culture. People are so friendly. It's a very cosmopolitan, open destination. So I think it has so much going for it. So not just integrated facilities, but also then service excellence. How are we going to look after your guests when they come here? That whole customer experience, that whole customer journey. So it's really great to hear that the focus on education, and that's something that I'm based in Riyadh. We're seeing a lot of that focus now on educating young Saudis in the hospitality sector, in the event sector, and that's really important because that will create a sustainable market and also create a sustainable workforce and a long-term legacy for the destination. So it's really encouraging to hear you doing that because these are all key components that will drive the attractiveness of a destination. So I think right now they're just doing a really great job. We're on the right track, and it's really exciting to hear what's happening here.
Absolutely agree with you. Thank you for this reply. Actually, just small comment. Sometimes when we are comparing other countries to UAE, I would say other countries will be great, and even Georgia will be great. But because for the UAE, they have a great airport, we have a really great facility that comparing all over the world with us. There, Miss Julia, let's move next. What kind of entrepreneurial infrastructure accelerators, funding platforms, or policy tools would upscale local tourist startups into what in general?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not only about the infrastructure, it is also about the talent. In the previous panel, we heard about the challenges when it comes to energy sector that got back in no power with talent. So in the last decade, we've been mainly working on building incubation programs, acceleration programs, but we always done that in partnership with the government. In Europe, we worked with the European Commission and we focused on digitalization of the SMEs. In the UAE, one of my favorite countries still, we work with the Ministry of Economy because they do understand being inclusive means involving the other 50% of your population is just great ROI. But on the other hand, we need these public-private partnerships. In Europe, a lot of companies in the touristic sector receive grants, and based on these grants, they could develop and expand and innovate. I think that's one of the things that Georgia could consider as well. Another challenge we face is that this sector, tourism sector, is not as digitalized as others. And so it faces two challenges. So by creating acceleration programs specifically for the tourism sector, I think you already gave few examples on the educational side, but actually that will lead to attracting also international talent. And I think UAE now did a great job. I just came back from Riyadh, same story there. They're launching very attractive acceleration programs with experts from abroad, making sure that the startups landing there have soft landing programs and have some kind of startup visas, making it quite easy to enter the new country. And then collaborating with this sector here, we just heard this morning also the IT sector being stimulated by the government as well. So imagine bringing this international talent together. That leads to attracting investors. Ministries, with UI ministries, and we've seen that bridging these ecosystems create more opportunities for the local companies. We cannot work.
Thank you, Yulia. Miss Natalie, let's come to the next question. How can Georgia institutionalize service quality across the tourism sector to ensure consistency and global competitiveness? I mean, you are doing great until now, comparing to if you compare like 10 years ago and now, you went too much at it, by the way.
Thank you very much. This is crucially important for our country. That's our role as association is very big in this process to become more competitive in the region. And for neighbor country, for example, it's a country what we are doing. Just that's as I mentioned, that education and professional education is most important and priority we have because the tourism is main direction of our economy and big attention from private sector and the governmental organization, public sectors is very big. That's and when we are talking about that, what we need, for example, in next 10 years, that's just we are working very soon. We start that there's to create the next 10-year strategy of tourist development, tourism, and hospitality. As I mean, that in this process, the educational process will be most part will be played because without the education, as I mentioned, it's we have the 20 years experience already in this process, and that it's nothing to reach. That's because the tourism is one part, but the education and service development is the second part. That's to talk about what we need to create most competitiveness in some country. That we need the right human resource as well. That's because without human resource, what we can to do in the hospitality, especially in big hotels, what they do. It's because in some country we need the very qualified persons, but qualified the human resource to increase the interest of investors, for example. One part is as well the investors' interest. Second part is that what we need is a country. We need only 5-star hotels or 2-star hotels. This is the big process of research, and without research, it's impossible to decide something big is a country. That's in this process to make the we very often make the research process. Inside our association, we have more than 300 members, and most of them are the hospitality sector, like hotel, chain, hotel, etc. And we are asking to them what we need for improvement. For example, need the digital skills or the business skills improve or something else. And we are depending on their needs. The need assessment is crucially important for our association, for example. That's because we cover most of the big businesses in tourism industry in the country. And we were times trying to offer to our members and non-members as well the recommendation from our side. And we have, for example, period we organize a big event, a big conference to sit and discuss about the needs of future plans or share experience from our global speakers. And for example, once ago, no, in September we organized several times that's big conference standards in tourism. This is the fully covered of sustainable topics, and we try to invite inside country big global speakers to share the experience, to take the good opportunities for our country and strengthen the cooperation and the linking with the global market and Georgia. It's our association has big role in this process, and we are part of several councils in country, educational, the Ministry of Economy and others, to express our needs as well, with them and needs what we need for the future development. So I hope the next 10 years will be more strong period for the tourist development in that country as well. Hospital sector is very strong sector in that country because we as hotels or I mean, the HoReCa sectors is very well developed, but we need more. That's we need more big service, with good service, and to invite high-level travelers inside country. We must to start all this process in complex to reach very good results.
I'm sure you can do it with this kind of energy and commitment. You can surprise, and not in 10 years you can do it, even this time. Mr. Bjorke, let's move to the next question. What investments or partnership are needed to modernize Georgia's navigation infrastructure in support of vehicle or experiential tourism?
Um, when we talk about aviation, I have to say, and a bit challenge your question, that usually hubs and the major touristic destinations are created by airlines, policies, and strategic partnership. The infrastructure only follows the demand. So when we talk about Georgia, Georgia has a quite strong foundation in terms of policies. We enjoy open sky policy with the European Union since 2010, and we are having a free visa regime for many nationalities, and we also enjoy free visa regime with the European Union. And this made the possible to establish a very strong partnership, and we experienced it first time in 2012 when we brought one of the major players such as Wizz Air in Kutaisi Airport, and Wizz Air in 10 years period became one of the biggest carrier, if not the biggest carrier in Georgia. So when policies and strategic partnership with the airlines, particularly, are working in hand to hand, so it creates a real effect and helps, of course, the tourism sector. But saying this, I'm not undermining the importance of the aviation infrastructure such as an airport. As you probably know, we recently announced, and the government announced new airport project, which would be greenfield project in Tbilisi, and hopefully it will be materialized in the coming years. And of course, we need infrastructure not only locally, but the country itself needs to be competitive with the region. And if we look at the region, the main countries are developing their infrastructure to compete and to have more attractive markets. Therefore, this in this process, of course, incentivization and those stimulus packages for the airlines, it's important. And when airports and airlines and tourism sector, they are working together to unify and not only working for one particular airport, it creates a real result. And we very much hope that we will have more unified policy in terms of providing incentives for the airlines in the country, and we will continue the same path that we had in Paris Airport.
Thank you, and it's very interesting. I love it to hear about that. I see the organizers, either my colleague Aliona or Mr. Muhammad, they are pushing me, telling me should on the time. But because of that, let's keep the last question and let's make 1 minute 3 words. Let's start with you, Dr. Tibi. Tell us something in 1 minute.
Something in 1 minute. Oh my gosh. This, I think,
She's not prepared.
public and public sector working with governments. We work with all over the world. We have over 500 venues internationally. So working together, putting together those sustainability goals, how can we achieve, how can we monitor them, how can we reach them. It is a collaborative effort, I think Georgian mentioned, and Natalie mentioned as well. Setting standards, working in the private sector to elevate, to make sure we reach those goals together. It's not one person's role, it's a collaborative effort.
Yulia.
I think let's focus on protecting the investors. At the end, AB effort that will go towards Georgia, is it airlines, is it real estate? You need to have security, and the rest will follow.
I think there's the exit strategy. We need to speak about it in Georgia, how this will be touched there. Mr. Dabi.
Yes, that's to make a big step forward. I mean, the development of sustainable tourism, especially we must concentrate and make focus on planet, people, prosperity. All these things are crucially important for the future development for our society. And I hope the sustainable development as a not only the written on paper. This will be real equal to do in future to make all me stakeholders. I've been the private sector, I represent the government, public institution, or our society will feel like faithful in future. That's all. Thank you very much.
Mr. Georgian.
And about sustainability, obviously, for green tourism and for sustainable environment, of course, aviation can be a good driver if particularly public and private sectors are working together, creating right policies, and we are using the right technologies. And sustainability is not about only fuel burn, but also we have to care about the processes, what are happening on the ground, having self and energy efficient terminals and electric vehicles for ground handling services. We need to have more control over airport taxiing process, and of course using more and more technology to reduce the carbon emissions.
Thank you. And just to add to Ms. Natalie, I think in tourism sector, maybe in hospitality sector, the most important thing, when I'm traveling to a country, I like to see one thing when somebody meeting me there in the hotels, smiling. This is very seriously computers today, and I see the Georgia going very good there. Ariana, can you allow us a couple of questions or no?
Absolutely. Couple of questions. Who's ready? Short one? You promised the short one? All right. So we will see a couple of them. Yeah, absolutely.
You have one question. My question is big. What?
A little bit closer the mic so everyone can hear you.
It's okay now?
No.
It's okay. Yeah, we can hear. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yes, now we can hear them.
Now the panel is first. And since first the panels are taken. Within the application, I believe that university not critical in person sector, the whole world is wrong. My question is this with Chairman of Georgia.
We will just try the mic. So we come to the question part. Yes.
Better, being the chairman of European Women's Nation, and it's talking about the Medicare on child and exceptional investment. How would foresee you as a woman, and you are the chair of European Women's Association, and the top 3 countries in tourism worldwide are Europe, France, Spain, and Italy. How could that really capitalize on investing on the movement by itself? Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Generally, like regardless of the tourism sector, when it comes to investing in women, there is a gap. I mean, you speak about less than 2% of VC money going to female-led companies. And it's a long journey, like to fix it in the short term. But one of the things that we are working on is actually training women to be investors, to make sure they reinvest, which is actually proven by data by McKinsey that women tend to invest in women again. So that goes to Georgia as an example, our Georgian tourism sector. I do believe that focusing on accelerations as we spoke before, and at the same time, not forgetting to focus on investment programs for potentially women as well. And the bigger reasoning behind why including women in the economy, regardless of the ROI, by the way, women outperform when it comes to SMEs companies. It's also because the World Bank showed that women tend to reinvest in their communities. We are speaking here about social impact, about ESG, we're speaking about communities, but this is exactly what's happening globally, not only here in Georgia. When women earn their money by self-employment, they invest in education of the children, in taking care of the elderly, in households, and a little bit for themselves, which cannot be compared to data of men. I won't mention it here. But just investing in women makes just sense from the right perspective, but again, also from the community and next generation perspective. So this is the bigger vision behind. But thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. Any other question? What more we can say? Or we wrap up on that note. Thank you so much, Nawar, for keeping it so engaging and fascinating.
Thank you, ladies, gentlemen, for people. Thank you, Ariona, for the great moderating, for the great MC here. Thank you to Sada again, that he is there now somewhere.
Yes, here. It's cool here, yes. Thank you. All right. So please turn off for the camera. And I would like to invite on stage the panel moderator, Miss Maya Gonzalez. Please welcome on stage and invite your panelists.